What is going on, everybody? There's Luke here. Today we're doing a brand new video about Curve. I haven't done a video in a little while, but now there is a time and a place to do one, and it is now. So, what is Curve and how does it work? So ultimately, many of you may have heard about it, talked about in communities and groups and stuff like that, but I'll be going over the reasons why I use it and the cool features that I like about it, just so you can get a feel for it. Now, there is a paid version of it and there is a free version of it, and there's many little different tiers to payment as well. But the cashback itself that you get from having this covers that higher charge monthly fee, okay? So I'll go into that. So even though it does cost, it's not the end of the world because you get enough cashback to cover it, because that is what this does. It allows you to get extra cashback where you couldn't have before. For example, we use our CAPITALONTAP credit card, 1%. We might use top cashback on top of that. What this allows you to do is it allows you to get even more cashback on top of all of that. Because what you do is you input all of your cards onto the app, then the virtual card they give you to use, a debit card, can then be used, yeah? Just like you would enter it into, I don't know, a Cardo order or Hancock's order, whatever it ends up being, right? But when you use that debit card, it actually uses the money from a card you select. So if you add if you have 5 cards, you add them all, you can go, right, I want it to be CAPITALONTAP. So you can designate CAPITALONTAP in your app, that's the primary card to use whenever you use your card, or you tap the, if you're using Apple Pay or something. It will use that. It will come through obviously on your Curve like a pop-up notification, but then you'll see well, I've got CAPITALONTAP on my phone, so it'll pop up actually to say that it's come off my CAPITALONTAP as a payment to a Cardo or Welco's or wherever you end up, going and spending money. So you can also change that later. You can go, right, I don't want to use CAPITALONTAP anymore. I want to use I don't know, Barclaycard Business or something, or I want to use AMEX. But unfortunately, you can't use AMEX as much as you might want to add it. Everything but AMEX. So unfortunately, you can't. Don't know the reason exactly why, but it's good enough without it. It'll be even better with it, of course. So maybe in the future they're going to add that. So let's just go over how it quickly works and the things you get. So we're going to click on plans, because really this is what you want to be sort of looking at to see why I would want to get this, because I signed up for this about a week ago. So if you scroll down, you get some quite cool perks. Phone and travel insurance. Unlimited cashback sounds it's a little bit too good to be true, because it is, because you select retailers from a list and then you get 1% cashback on that. Unlimited, but you do, right? Rather than every single purchase. It is not every purchase. You also get offers and rewards. So like Argos has 3.5% cashback as part of their scheme. So it's not including any of these. It's just they've got some deals that you can get. Like you go to top cashback and they have different percentages all the time depending on what the retailer's offering them, right? Similar to this, they have a list of different retailers that you can use, and if you happen to use it with your Curve card, you'll get an extra 3.5% if it's Argos, for example. There's also stuff like Wilco's and stuff like that as well. There's no fees of going abroad, but I wouldn't say we potentially use that a lot, that kind of thing. But what we want to look at is to go down here. So a lot of this is just kind of standard stuff, but a cool feature they have is go back in time. So I haven't used this yet, but what happens is once a payment's cleared, you can actually rewind that payment. I know it sounds bizarre. Rewind that payment and actually designate it to get moved to a different card, which I thought was pretty insane. Like I've never heard of that in my life. But you can actually rewind a payment and swap your cards that you want to basically to go on. So maybe you accidentally maybe you've added your personal accounts cards onto it too, because you can get cashback. I don't know, at clothes retailers, and you want to go to those clothes retailers and you think, well, why not get free cashback? So it's not, even though it's going to be a business card, so when you sign up, select sole trader, it will designate it as a business card. You can also add your personal, and obviously the money would not come off of any of your business accounts, so it'd be fine, right? You get what I'm trying to say. Again, it's not financial advice, but you get what I'm trying to say. And get a little bit of extra cashback that you wouldn't have been able to get before. I quite like that. No FX charges, because, I don't know if you've ever done like a SellerBoard and all that kind of random stuff. Sometimes you get a little FX charge going onto your bank. There isn't any of that, which is kind of cool. Not to say that breaks the bank, but it's an addition. So this is obviously the thing we want to be looking at, right? The Curve 1% cashback. So I'm going to go onto my app in a sec, because you can't log on through the portal, and actually show you that. And another, interesting benefit, some people might want to take advantage of this, is the crypto rewards. Instead of getting cash back in terms of cash, You can get it in about 6 different cryptos: Bitcoin, Ethereum, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and actually I'm doing mine in Ethereum. The reason is because Ethereum is pretty, not massively crappy at the moment, actually. It's gone from about 1,000 to 1,600. Obviously the highs are 5,000. But you know, easily it could get to 10 grand in 5 years. Could go down to 400 before that, but in my mind that means I can accrue even more Ethereum at a 1% cashback if it does that, so win-win. I am happy to wait and basically build that up until Ethereum pops up to whatever price, and then I'm getting maybe 5% conversion. So that 1%, let's say it's £1, in 5 years could be worth, I don't know, all 3 years could be worth £6, for example. So I'm just doing it for that because it's something that I did not have, this cashback, before. So yeah, you could decide that you want the money yourself, or you want to reinvest it in the business, and obviously that's up to you. But I see it as extra income, so why not deviate slightly from the norm, which would be to take that cashback and do something that has a little bit more risk reward, but it's free anyway, so who cares, right? Because I didn't have this last week, Monday, didn't have it. Again, you get travel insurance, mobile phone. For this Worldwide Airport Key Lounge access, it's only a discount, by the way. But you get car hire excess insurance, and you get a metal card if that floats your boat. Doesn't really matter to me, but fair enough, yeah. So that is that. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump onto my app, and I'm going to just quickly talk to you about, you know, what you can do and what you can get. So the 6 retailers I chose, you can choose from a massive list of retailers in the UK. I just chose pretty much the standard stuff because I do grocery a lot. So I've got Waitrose, Sainsbury's, Ocado, Tesco's, Booking.com, although that isn't grocery because I do bookings, and Wilko's. Pretty straightforward. Again, depending on who you use, where you go, Argos, Wilko's, okay, I've got Wilko's, but you get what I mean. You can go ahead and select where you want that cashback to come from. So I get 1% cashback every time you spend on those selected retailers. So far I've got about £50 in Ethereum, so it's probably £44. It's probably gone down a little bit, but I mean, like I told you, I don't care. It's just I'm going to obviously find out if it expires, so that's always something to be aware of with cashback. Don't leave it on there forever, but also, you know, don't be stupid if that builds up to 1,000. You know, maybe it's time to take it out. But again, because you know, anything can happen to businesses, right? Cashback isn't cash until you redeem. Something to bear in mind. There's also a £5 welcome offer, so you spend like 4-5 times on the card, any amounts, and you get £5 for free, which is kind of cool. And obviously you can use that for whatever. Now, some of the other interesting features that you might not be aware of is that when you go to pay, this is just sort of like what the expansive thoughts around it. When you go to pay for HMRC, personal tax, whatever the taxes are. Sorry, not personal tax, but business taxes, I mean. VAT or year-end returns, right? Corporation tax. You normally have to pay with a debit card because if you choose a credit card, there's a 1.5% charge or something like that. So, of course, if you want to use CAPITALONTAP, you're only getting 1% cash back, but then you have to pay 1.5% surcharge to use it. So it's not really, basically you're paying more money than you want. So you have to use a debit card. And that can get a bit annoying depending on when your how cashback works, because obviously if it's Q4, you don't necessarily have a lot of money in the bank, or you are using your credit cards because you're already pushing the limit. And if you've then got a bill, you've got to then hold back loads of money in your business account, but you don't really want it in your business account because you want to be using it. And if you've got a decent limit on your credit cards, and you know Q4's nearly over, and you can obviously pay those credit cards back, soon. And then the next, if it's end of November, you know that I'm going to have plenty coming back by the end of December. I can match everything up and pay everything off then. But I find that sometimes what you can now do is because you're piggybacking your credit cards on a debit card, you can now use your Curve card to pay VAT and HMRC, corporation tax, and you can actually get points on your CAPITALONTAP card. So you won't obviously get points through the Curve because there's not an option to choose those, but it's going to be processing through the debit card, which is free to actually do that through the websites of HMRC and VAT, or basically HMRC, right? And then you're getting that 1% off whatever the amount is. Same with the year end, right? So there's extra cashback that you wouldn't have got. So it's not even directly related to the Curve, it's indirectly related to the Curve because you're using that debit card. I just think that's like fascinating. And another cool feature, of course, this can, it's not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. If you have Okay, a capital on tap card. I always use that as an example because everyone's pretty much familiar with it and they understand how it works. You have 20 grand limit, you spent 4, let's say. You have another credit card, like an AMEX, and you want to pay the AMEX off, and you have to then be like, okay, I need to be a bit careful with the money that's the Amazon disbursements into my bank account because I've got to pay that card off. Again, if cash flow is tight and you're moving money around left, right, and center to different, paying off that credit card, then using that balance again, and then keeping some for XYZ. Maybe you've got VAs to pay, you've got prep fees to pay, blah, 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 all these, costs. Obviously, you want to push your cash flow, push your cash as far as it can go over those real high demand periods. And then what you can go ahead and do is you can get the curve card and you can go add it onto AMEX and you can pay your AMEX off with your Capital on Tap card. Let's say you have a 20 grand balance on AMEX and you got 20 grand available on Capital on Tap. Usually you can't pay a credit card with a credit card. It doesn't work. Not allowed. Well, not like you're not allowed, but you get what I mean. It's not an option. But now you can because you're using a debit card, which is piggybacking onto the Capital on Tap card is piggybacking on that debit card, but no, they don't know. It looks like a debit card. It is a debit card. There's nothing wrong with it. But actually, it then filters through to Capital on Tap. You have a 20 grand payment of Capital on Tap. What does that mean? Well, it means your AMEX is paid off. Check. And now you've got a 20 grand spend on your Capital on Tap card. What does that mean? Points. Because you're spending on it. Well, if I had to do that whole transaction without the curve card, what would I do? I would have the money in my bank account. I would pay the AMEX off. What do I get out at the end of it? It's nothing. I paid it off. Obviously, the AMEX points that I would have already accrued are still there. Like, you don't get extra points for paying it off. And now, and also you don't have to be very mindful of how much you have to hold back in your account. Of course, you're still going to pay the money. It's still going from somewhere. So it's not like you're getting free money, but you are getting free cash back from the Capital on Tap card. So I found it's like not only got the layers of awesomeness from using the card, it's got the layers of awesomeness from the kind of like creative ways that you can use the card at specific times. Now, usually you're probably not going to do that, right? You just have the money in your bank, you pay off the AMEX because you're not like, you're not going mental. It's the word I'd use. But there are times that you might have, cash flow shortage and you don't want to go ahead and draw down money from Capital on Tap to pay off the AMEX because obviously the interest on that's pretty high. So you'd have to not have, sometimes I've done that. I've drawn down 3 grand because I need to make up 3 grand to pay off the AMEX. It's Q4. I literally am pushing. I've got no money. Because like wholesalers, for example, I have to use my HSBC account or my Starling account. I have to use cash. Can't use credit cards. And definitely over Q4, I'm pushing a hell of a lot of money through. So my HSBC balance is not necessarily high. But credit cards could have a lot of credit on them. Because I'm not using, obviously I'm now putting through 10, 20 grand within like a 1 or 2 week period, depending on the time of year, easy. And obviously I'm doing lots of retail as well, which is going through the credit cards. But now I'm like, okay, I can't do any wholesale. I'm panicking, not panicking, but I'm like, okay, right, I've got to manage this. So how much money is coming from Amazon over the next 5 days? AMEX needs to be paid on this date. So you start doing all those, number crunching. Well, now, and I used to go, okay, maybe to be safe, I'll draw down 3 grand, pay off the wholesaler now, so I get that stock 4 days earlier. Because if I wait to make sure I've got enough money to clear the AMEX, which is in 5 days, for example, just to double check, obviously that's delay in shipment, delay in purchasing, which is going to have a knock-on effect to sales and so on and so forth. All of that goes out the window. You can just pay directly from your credit card onto the AMEX. The only thing you can't do is pay the Capital on Tap with the AMEX, which would be the perfect kind of like 360 roundabout, because then you would get even more spend on your AMEX. Unfortunately, that isn't the case, and hopefully they add that at some point, because that'd be sick. Because then you get not only Capital on Tap points paying your AMEX, but you get AMEX points for paying Capital on Tap, because it looks like you're spending that money on the cards. But you can only get it one way so far, and it removes all that kind of backlog crap of like having to sort out and make sure you're managing your cash flow. But it just relaxes that cash flow at times of need. So I don't need to draw down 3 grand, which is going to have like, I think only like 13 quid. I remember I looked last year in like November or December, £13 charge, because it was only a handful of days. Because once I actually cleared that money for the AMEX, paid it off, the next day I got paid from Amazon, and then I paid off the Capital on Tap card. So it was, I didn't hold that drawdown for a long time. But sometimes that's been useful just for a quick cash in the bank to pay off the wholesaler quick, to get that stock in earlier, blah, blah, blah. Now you don't have to do that. You can just go straight across. So I really like this card for that reason. And not only that, but on it, they, like I said, they have rewards. So just to give you some examples, they got like stuff that you might use for personal reasons, like American Golf, Argos, Ask Ask Italian. Is that a food place? BHS. Does anyone shop there anymore? Maybe. Clark's. I mean, not that I ever go there. Maybe I haven't since I was 12, but okay. Hotel Gifts, length rates if you're getting VA something, but they live in the Philippines probably, so no. Mankind, Prestige, half of these I never heard of, to be honest. But some I have. The Real Food Hub, don't know what that is. Vegan, Waterstones, Wilco's, ZZ's, places to eat. Of course, you can use those for your business if you want, but you get an extra cashback where there wasn't one before. Plus, if you get the 6, if you basically get this, where you get 6 retailers, you can also get 1% on all of that. So you can kind of see here, this is kind of like the stuff. Well, it says 10% cashback, £10 back. It's not as generous as that, clearly. Well, not to say they don't have that periodically, but that looks like the extras, not the actual cashback I was talking about. But again, like having phone insurance, travel insurance, that's going to be there. Even if it's like 50 quid a year, travel insurance, phone insurance. What is it these days? 5 to 10 quid a month? Obviously, read the T's and C's and make sure that you get covered exactly how you suspect that you're covered. You know, like, but yeah, like even if it's 50 quid a year. Plus you're getting no FX charges. Plus you're getting like car hire access. I've been doing quite a lot of car hiring recently, actually. You get discounted this, although you still got to pay, so it's not free. So yeah, maybe you could use your cash back and you could have that, and you could upgrade your lifestyle a little bit, a couple of times a year, or whatever. Well, it seems to be me like 20 times a year, but or you might decide that actually I don't need 6 because I do a lot of wholesale, and therefore 3 is plenty for me. And again, obviously reduced cost. And really, this is not a lot of money. I made £44 in the last week. And yeah, obviously that's going to, you know, so within about 4 days I've covered my monthly charge. Plus I've got all the extras, and plus I can do all the cool stuff when the time arises or needs to be implemented about the whole cash flow thing with the swapping of credit cards. So I'm going to leave the video there. I'll leave a link below if you want to sign up or not. Don't use the link if you don't want to. Use the link if you do. All I do is get 5 quid. So it's up to you, and that's literally it. No difference. So either sign up through the website or through the link. Every little helps, I guess. I can buy myself 5 quid these days. Chicken breasts, pack of sensations. Cheap chicken breast, my little, of course. Otherwise, that £5 going to go fast. So anyway, enough from me. Hopefully you liked it and enjoyed it. Definitely, I would say if you're doing a lot of online arbitrage, you should be looking to get this. Again, sign up for the free, basically sign up for the free one, I would say. And then if you want to then upgrade afterwards. Look at it. So don't just straight off the bat download and pay this. Look at it and decide afterwards, depending on what the offers and retailers that you use and what they offer for you. So I'm going to leave it there. Hope you liked it, and see you next time. Bye bye.